the latest Star Trek Picard Season 3 trailer. I would say the final Star Trek Picard Season 3 trailer. We know that there is no more trailers after this. This is the last one. And we got a actual breakdown from the actual showrunner, Terry Matalas. And I was going to use this in our Weekly Terry this week. And then I was like, you know what? This sort of deserves its own thing. And it came from TrekMovie.com. So let's break it down now. It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
So why aren't we doing this in the Weekly Terry? Just curious.
Because there's a bunch of other stuff in the Weekly Terry to talk about.
Because we got so much stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's so much Terry this week. There's so much Weekly Terry.
So much. Okay.
All right. This is what it says. The latest trailer for the final season of Star Trek Picard was released on Sunday, revealing a multitude of events and plot points. While we have already reported on some immediate responses from the Picard team, there is still a lot to delve into detail. In the past, blah, 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 blah. All right, this is what Terry Matalas says.
Blah, blah, blah.
Sorry. So the first scene is, he says about the boatswain, the boatswain. How do you say it? Boatswain?
Boatswain.
About the boatswain
looks like a Wayne,
whistle.
Yeah.
He says, I very much prefer Starfleet to feel like the Navy. And certainly the original series and a lot of what Star Trek 2 and 6 director Nick Meyer did feels like that most. And the trailer, as does the first episode, starts with an air of pomp and circumstance. So it's just getting a feel of what I think Starfleet should feel like. It's the military. It's serious. There are protocols. And that sort of permeates throughout the season. Dude, I love this so much.
That is so important. If you go back to TOS, like it is the Navy. Like this is what spaceships are. I mean, you think about it, you're like in a submarine.
Right.
Right. And it's got the military structure. I've always thought of it that way. And as it being in the Navy. And of course I was in the Navy. So a lot of things like boatswain's whistles and stuff. It's great. It's a part of Star Trek lore, and I absolutely love that he's embraced it.
Yeah, and that's a big problem we had with Discovery. So let's cut the acting out. Let's cut the bad storylines out. Let's cut the complete disregard for 70 years of canon out. Let's look at just the most basic aspects of Starfleet. That was the most offensive thing to me right away, was that they weren't military. They didn't act like military. There wasn't a clear command structure. Michael Berman, whatever her name is, constantly disobeyed the command structure. Constantly committed like multiple offenses of treason every season, and no one ever held her to it. Oh no, she was right. And at what point is she just allowed to be treasonous constantly? And she's still, and then she fails upwards until she's the captain of the ship that she initially treasoned against. Jesus.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the part of it. And also, even in if you look at the new Strange New World show, it's a very laxed chain of command structure.
Right.
The captain and the helmsman are buddies. The captains, which is fine. I mean, cooking meals every night and kind of, it's very relaxed. And if you go back to TOS or you go back to TNG, the things that you remember is what the captain said goes. If Kirk or Picard, made a decision, then that's where everybody went. And it does feel a little more loosey-goosey. Getting back here to Picard season 3, you're getting more back to that feel of how command is supposed to work. But yet you are still going to see some interesting things that break down the command structure. So I love what Terry's saying, but at the same time, there are some people not always listening to instructions.
That's
accurate. Not always doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's accurate.
So it is in the Star Trek, because that is part of Star Trek.
But it makes sense though. The things that things you're referring to make complete sense considering the history.
Right. But ultimately they're following rules until rules perhaps maybe shouldn't be followed.
Right.
So if Kirk is stealing, a vessel to go back in time to Earth, and he's not supposed to be doing so, but the things happening in Picard season 3 are happening for a reason that we realize is the right
Oh,
call.
spoiler alert! Kirk stole a Klingon bird of prey to go back in time.
That's right.
In case you forgot. Super chat from Mexican Iron Man. Thank you, Mike. Listening in from remote client location in Hilton Head. Great seeing you for lunch, and thank you both for all you do for us Trek fans. Dude, I had lunch with Mexican Iron Man, and it was awesome. You are truly our other brother from Mexican mother, my friend. You are right there with us. We think the same. We have the same humor, and I hope that we can do some stuff together because that was a great lunch, and I enjoyed my tenderloin tacos. Not gonna lie.
He's at a remote location in Hilton Head. That's great golfing country out there. I wonder if he's golfing.
All right, moving on with this. They asked, "Is this the same whistle scene in Star Trek 5?" And he said, "I felt like those whistles are usually traditional and passed down from ship to ship. So we thought that might be the case here. And I suppose it could be the same one or just an older 100-year-old model. Is it passed down from ship to ship?"
No. No, there's nothing traditional necessarily. There's nothing sacred traditional about the boatswain's whistle. In fact, what's cool is when you're a boatswain's mate in the Navy, every boatswain learns to pipe a whistle. It's used for, coming aboard. It's used for a lot of actually different things. So it's not ceremoniously traditional. I mean, maybe in Star Trek they've made it that way, but I can't think of anything in the lore that suggests that's specific. But
okay. Next shot is of 7 of 9, and they asked. So 7 of 9 is now commander, and the first officer of the USS Titan, the main ship for that season. We see her greeting Picard and Riker and presenting him to the bridge crew. It's a bit awkward moment. Terry's brief glimpse into what's going on here. It is very much a conflict for her as to how fast she was inducted into Starfleet and whether or not she truly feels as though she belongs, and her captain feels as though she belongs. Interesting.
He actually gave away quite a bit of info there. Terry kind of gives some good stuff away sometimes.
Yeah.
We're really going to go into. We're going to really understand Seven's character a little more. Picard season 2 just totally didn't do her any justice. Picard season 2 was absent 7 of 9. She was there, but she really wasn't there. Right. This season, you're going to get some real fleshing out of 7 of 9, and it's going to make you feel really good about the character, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she's great. So they go on as the captain of the USS Titan is played by Todd Stashwick. With all the prior speculation that he had tapped his member of the... I don't know why it's written so poorly. Matalas joked it was the worst kept secret in Star Trek, but he also predicted, I think he's going to be the fan favorite. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be a fan favorite.
I think so. I mean, he in a way, he kind of steals the show. Is he the fan favorite? I mean, you're going to love your original characters the most.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, but you know what it is about Todd is he adds a flavor to the show that's different and unique from anything you really ever see in Star Trek.
Right.
And that's, I think, what's cool about it is you're getting a personality that I don't think we've ever seen before. And,
and it's so authentic. It's really good.
Right. It's like honest and believable. So, and you end up, I think you start out kind of not liking him, and then you end up really loving him as you go on.
Yeah. He really is outstanding. So they asked about the scene where he's talking about, like, we're not going to be blowing things up or crash landing or...
Oh, yeah.
That was so good. And it's so perfect. Like, I'm so glad that was in the trailer, and no spoilers here, but it's perfect for this character to say that.
Well, and what's cool is in the trailer, they didn't ruin it. So they very easily, I hate it when trailers ruin it because you don't really know the tone of that character from that speech. Like, you don't get what he means by those words he's saying.
Right.
And we're not going to tell you because it'll ruin it. But when you watch it, there's a special tone that's being delivered that you don't see in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's going to have a lot to do with how important the scene is.
Yeah. And at first you feel like it's just comedy, but it's actually super deep and heartwarming. It's fantastic. This is what Terry said. Again, harkening back to what I said earlier about this being the military and how legacy characters like Picard and Riker tend to be able to throw their weight around within this organization and get special treatment doesn't always sit well with everyone within the military. Yeah, I guess that's pretty accurate.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, military is a lot different now than it used to be. Things are changing.
Right. All right. Military right now is sort of
people have more opinions. It used to be in the military, you just did what you were told and you shut up and that was kind of it. Nowadays, it seems like everybody gets to have an opinion, which is different, but
yeah. No, I'm going to say what you're not saying right now. It's worse.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Every soldier, every 19-year-old that just joined TikTok, just joined the military having a TikTok page is stupid. They should not be allowed to be in their barracks, in uniform, in their BDUs, making TikToks about hooking up with a barracks bunny. That is so uncouth. It's so embarrassing for the military. Stop doing that. How is that allowed? Why is that allowed? Why are they allowed to have you join the military, you lose your voice while you're on the clock. You want your voice off the clock? Cool. Don't do it in uniform. We used to have a rule. You can't just go out into the world in your BDUs and front your military service as a way to get attention. You weren't allowed to do that. You literally were not allowed to wear your BDUs to events. You can wear them going home or going to work, but wearing them around town was actually against the rules.
Right.
Why are we allowed to make TikTok dances in cut off military BDUs in the barracks?
Well, see, they're still on base. That's why they're doing it. But the reality is when I was still in the military, right at the end of my service, of course, we had MySpace. So when I was leaving the military, it was MySpace, and there was a whole problem with how much from your military can you have in social media, and I think that's still something they're trying to tackle. It's really hard to get your arms wrapped around. Because you basically represent yourself. When you're in military, you're representing the military. When you're in your uniform, you're representing the branch of the military you're in and everything that you do, and it's a reflection. So you can actually be held accountable for that under the uniform code of military justice. So maybe there's some things happening behind the scenes when you see those TikToks, and they may not be there for very long.
Yeah, I hope not. BDUs are battle dress uniforms. So like when you see like the
camouflage.
The camouflage or like the digital print.
Camouflage.
Right. Yeah. So I have a closet full of, or a giant bag actually now full of BDUs. Because the more you had, the less laundry you had to do every week. So I tended to just buy new BDUs every time I got a paycheck. I would just be at the PX, this is like the military store, just buying BDUs because I didn't want to do laundry.
I don't blame you. Let's see. We got a super chat from Hiroshi the dog. Thank you for the $5 euro. It just came to my mind that Seven spent her whole life on starships since she was a baby. Really good point. Yeah, she really did. I mean, she is a child. She was taken by the Borg and she was basically incubated, I guess, as a small child, and then all the way to a woman. And she's still out there doing it from the Fenris Rangers to now a member of Starfleet. So she's she's been out for a long time.
In a way, that's actually sort of addressed. Interesting enough in this season, sort of. Yes, thank you, Matt Vader. Smash the thumbs up button, my friends.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see, no matter what happens after this series is over, no matter what we do next, I am pretty sure Jerry Ryan and 7 of 9 will not be going anywhere.
Oh yeah, so that's so quickly. Let's break in here quickly to say something about that. There are rumors floating around that, she might do the Janeway show with Janeway. Remember we talked about that before. And of course, we're going to want to see her come back after this, for another series with Terry Matalas, perhaps. Bottom line is, the reason all these rumors are being floated around is because she is so good in this season. Everyone is outstanding in this season, but some of the breakout characters and actors are the ones you spend the most time with, and Seven is one of those characters. As usual, Seven is either great or just, topping. She's never actively a distraction or detraction from the story. She's a great actress and a great character, and I think that a little Seven flavoring is always going to be, something that if they could include it, they will.
Yeah, as long as they can stay true to her character always. We're going to see more of her in the future, no matter what.
So they also ask him, and guys, I'm sorry about the cursor. When you say there was a cursor on my face, was it on my face? Was it on Shane's face? Let me know, because I'm not seeing the cursor the way you are. All right, so they asked him, is there more action in this season? And he basically Terry said, there's certainly more action than in seasons 1 and 2. And I gotta tell you, 100% correct.
Yeah,
there is true. Like triple the actions. It's like all the action that should have been in season 1 and season 2 was like carried forward into season 3. It's like rollover action, man.
Yeah, it's throughout the whole middle of the series. It's like nonstop action.
Yeah, it's almost sort of exhausting. Continuing over at Trek Movie, and by the way, this interview is on TrekMovie.com. Only a portion of it's on Honest Pop Culture because we want to give Trek Movie the credit they deserve.
Yep, this is their. I think this was their exclusive.
Right.
Yeah.
So they actually asked him. So the Titan has 2 captains and an admiral on board. In addition to the actual captain of the Titan, we have seen shots in this and other trailers of Seven, Picard, and Riker in the captain's chair. When asked if there's an element of too many cooks on the bridge, Matalas replies, "That definitely comes into question early on." Yes, yeah, it does. And I would like to point you to his previous tweets where he compared it to, remember that military movie with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman?
Oh, Crimson Tide.
Yeah, he compared it to Crimson Tide. So if you want a feeling of what is happening on the bridge in season 3, there is a very Crimson Tide element to it for at least a couple episodes.
But imagine, so imagine Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. They didn't really know each other. Now imagine a couple of people who know each other really well.
Right. It's Crimson Tide, but they're bros. They're basically brothers. Right.
They're bros.
Yeah. They're me and Shane. All right.
So who's Picard and who's Riker?
Oh, I'm definitely Riker.
Damn it. I'm going to lose my hair.
Not only do I have the beard, but I have mastered the art of the chair sitting.
Okay. Yeah. I actually always hated that.
Yeah. I hated that until I saw a supercut of it. Then I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life. That's outstanding.
He was young. I'm like, well, he's so presumptuous. Look at him just sitting in.
Love it.
Now I can't. I love the man.
Yeah, they continue. Worf's warning. So cut around a shot of Titan Bridge on red alert and Starfleet captain saying, "Battle stations!" We hear Worf in voiceover saying there's something coming. Some kind of attack. And Starfleet could be the target.
And by the way, if you guys want to see a video breakdown of this, we haven't mentioned it, but the trailer for Picard, we actually do a complete breakdown of the entire trailer, scene by scene. You can see that over on the other channel, the podcast. And it breaks it down, I mean, literally word for word. All the Easter eggs we can find and everything. So
yeah, we put a lot of effort into it. If you guys want to look at it, it is right here. This is what it looks like. Star Trek Picard season final right here. It's right here. Just go to there and boom, watch it. All right. So let me get back to this. Thank you for cutting me off. There's something coming.
That's what I'm good at.
Some kind of attack. And Starfleet could be the target. God, Worf is so fucking awesome in this series.
He's so great in this show.
I've been watching the screeners over and over again, like some kind of like insane person.
Obsessed person. Yeah.
I'm obsessed, like for sure. And oh God, Worf is so damn cool.
You know what, guys?
He is so cool. I cannot. Every time I'm feeling like, oh, this might be cringe. No, Worf saves the day. Like he's so damn good. He's so good. Anyways, Matalas had previously said that the season's main plot is tied to the aftermath of the Dominion War. He said that? He said it's tied to the aftermath of the Dominion War? Jeez, that is giving away a lot. Oh my God.
He did. He's always kind of said that Worf's DS9 story was continuing.
Well, I mean, yeah. Wow.
But that's pretty specific.
And it's really specific. It's like so specific. And for our trailer analysis, he does confirm this connection. Yes, absolutely. Worf is connected to the main plot. He is still dealing with the fallout of the Dominion War. He says it again. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Look, okay, here's the deal. There are 3 types of Star Trek fans. There are Star Trek fans that are just always wrong because they're bad viewers of television, and they probably have, they're a little light on the IQ, but they like explosions. And those people really love, and no offense, but they really love Star Trek Beyond. And I like Star Trek Beyond too. So I'm one of those people. But then there's the people that don't care about canon or theories or whatever, and they just sort of want to enjoy TV. And those are the same people that when you ask them what do they like better, Star Trek or Star Wars, they go, "What's the difference?" And you want to just smack them in the face. And then there's the vast majority of Trek fans who will read into everything you say, every frame, every word in the trailer, everything, down to the credits. They will look at the credits to try to find a pattern. The majority of Star Trek fans are, and no offense, I say this with love, we're nuts.
I mean, that's me.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yes. So him saying 3 times that there's a connection to the Dominion War, there's no way that is lost on people.
No, I mean, but it doesn't give away specifics. But yeah, it does not specifically give away anything.
Enterprise F is there, but not the focus. Worf's warning cuts to a shot of the USS Enterprise, the successor to the USS Enterprise E, which appeared in 3 TNG movies. The Enterprise F joins other ships as Worf warns about the attack on Starfleet. But Matalas wanted to make it clear that the Enterprise F is not the hero for the season.
It's true.
You know what? There is a point where maybe he just stopped doing these interviews.
I mean, I think that's been said before, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm almost positive it's been said before. We're on the Titan mostly. Now, we're going to see multiple enterprises, as Patrick Stewart has already told everybody, and which everybody's like, wait, did he just say multiple enterprises?
He ruined it, yeah.
From the very beginning. I mean, before we'd even seen the show. And so you're going to...
it's... Jay,
there's no hero, I don't think there's a ship that's a hero of this season.
Well, no, yeah. So what Terry says exactly is more like an underdog, right? The Enterprise F is not the focus of the season, although it does appear in a very, very important moment. It's not the focus. The Next Gen cast does not all gather on the Enterprise F and go on a bunch of adventures. That is so well worded.
That is really well put. Yeah.
The hero ship of the season is the Titan, the underdog. Okay.
Yeah. And you're going to see more than just these 2 ships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of ships. A lot of awesome ships. Bro, when Patrick Stewart said the multiple enterprises thing, you and I were like, all right, time travel.
Time travel. It must be time travel.
How does this work? How is there multiple enterprises? I love how simple the answer was, and it was so brilliant the way it was.
Yeah.
All right. Ed Speleers is part of the Crusher's crew. The trailer also introduces a new, still unnamed. By the way, I forgot he was unnamed. I was on Twitter and I almost answered someone with his name. I was like, well, no. But I actually had typed, thank God for the undo tweet feature, bro.
Oh, thank God. Oh, really? So you had tweeted it.
I hit it, but it was still in the thing where it's like sending. And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, no, stop. Undo send.
Oh, thank God you figured that out, dude. We would have been smashed.
I forgot. In my mind, everyone knows what his name is.
You're not allowed to tweet anymore.
and his connection, and I almost
Just because you said that, now I'm terrified.
I almost replied, no, I've been hyper vigilant since then, by the way.
Hey, I can see Paramount, CBS, Terry Matalas, everybody going, okay, kill the podcast guy.
Yeah. There's just like snipers outside my house. No, listen.
Nobody knows his name, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's?
I know. Isn't that wild?
It's wild to us because we've known it for 3 months.
I know. I feel like everyone should know his name right now.
Right. And so we saw the trailer, but you're right. It didn't say their names. It didn't say who Todd Stashwick is playing. So, what's the name of that captain? We don't know.
I will tell you his name. Like in the trailer, though, if you're going frame by frame, like you might get a good, healthy idea of what his name is.
Is it on the name tag?
No,
name tag.
No, it's in the trailer though. It's in the very first part of the trailer.
Is it on like a name card or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's interesting. Good
on
point.
Beverly's
but
ship.
This guy's name you cannot tell.
Right.
You cannot tell Ed Speleers' name. His name is critical to the show. You can't say it.
Yeah, I know. Saying Ed Speleers, I feel like I'm doing something wrong because for like 3 months we held on to a secret.
It would have been the worst spoiler of all time. You giving away for the show.
I know.
If you would have given away that name, it would have ruined.
I know
everything.
Shane, I know.
My God, I'm having a panic attack.
This is why I've stopped talking about Picard on Twitter. I was deadly afraid that I almost made this massive mistake.
Now the screeners are out. See, here's the reason why we're talking like this. The screeners are out now. So a lot of people have access to the information.
Right.
And so now is when Paramount is looking to kill people.
Right.
So they have their snipers out and they're just waiting to pick off people and never let them have information ever again. So.
Yeah, and just to be clear, previously when we had procured information on Picard season 3, either have seen it or before that we even got like information that was really early. It was not through official means. Okay.
Right. So we couldn't get in trouble.
It was through our means, us normal, regular scum of the earth Trekkies down here, reaching out to people on the production staff and like talking to like literal like people that like clean the sets, basically the janitors. Like we talked to people that probably won't even show up on the credits in order to get that information. But now that we're looped into the official sources, like we can't reveal things. Like we have to be clear.
That's how they get you. That's how they put the handcuffs on you.
Right.
They legitimize you, put the handcuffs on you. So congratulations.
Yeah. Before we were making all these like theory videos, and by the way, we were right. I love that there was like this Reddit post where it was like, is Ed Speleers, and they had like this theory. And someone responded with like a link to our video, and they're like, yes, there's the video. And so one of the replies to that comment was, how is this 5 months old?
Right.
How is the video 5 months old? So the thing is, like, that's how they get you, right? So we were right enough for us to get official connections. And now that we have official connections and we know official things, we can't talk about it.
Right.
I almost wish I can go back to the Rebel days where we were just crawling through people's trash.
Right. That's true. It was all unconfirmed, though. This is way better having good confirmed information.
That's true. Yes, Dork Knight, the handcuffs are fuzzy.
Okay, let's keep going here.
All right. So he says, is anybody you know still the person you knew? That's what Ed Speleers' character says. Matalas did offer a bit about this mysterious character. It's wild that he's mysterious to me. He is a crewman on the Helios, Beverly Crusher's starship, and he is a member of Beverly's sort of Doctors Without Borders group, who's helping people on worlds that Starfleet has forgotten. Wild.
That's safe. That's fair.
That is like borderline, right?
I mean, it's safe. Yeah, I mean, the fact that
it's safe, but it's on the border of being not safe.
I mean, it pushes you towards theories for sure.
Right?
But yeah, that's an accurate statement without giving away too much.
Right. By the way, a lot here is like really good. Like Terry really thought these through. It's nice. In another voiceover, we hear Deanna Troi saying, "There is a darkness, an all-consuming darkness." Troi can be seen at various points in the trailer as well, even though Worf's warning has a direct connection to his history of the Dominion War. Matalas said that all of the returning TNG crew have their own connections to the story. This is what Matalas said. They all fit into the main plot. This won't feel like a bunch of disparate stories that don't come together. Everything here is connected to one singular idea. So she is definitely feeling the main threat of the season.
That's really well put. Yeah. And I would argue that probably Deanna's the lightest of the characters.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the season, but they all do. Yeah. They're not cameos, guys. You're all together. And
they're not window dressing. Like, even though she's the lightest of the characters, she plays a significant role still.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm coughing so much today. So a new shot of Raffi, no longer in a Starfleet uniform, as she was at the end of season 2, appears to be showing her putting something into her eye. The character has a history of substance abuse, so could this indicate she has fallen off the wagon? Matalas would only say, that's a good question.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he should have said. And because I looked very deeply into Star Trek lore for anything that has to do with what she's doing to herself right here, and there's just nothing there that I could find, so we're not going to say anything either. But it's important to the plot.
Right. The showrunner did offer some insight into what's in store for the character this season. We definitely reinvent Raffi quite a bit in this season. She is on her own journey in a really interesting and surprising way. Yes! I'm so glad he said this, because I wanted to say this, but I didn't know if I could. This is not the Raffi, and my mic is so far away because I'm yelling.
I think you got excited.
This is not the Raffi from Picard season 1 and 2. It's not.
I mean, it is. No.
You know, it's the same. It's the same character.
Look, can we say? Okay, go ahead.
But it's not. It's the same character, but there has been significant growth.
I would argue that growth occurs at the beginning of the show. I would say at the beginning of season 1, at the very, very beginning, you get season 1, season 2 Raffi. And I would say that transition occurs during the show.
And the reason it occurs is so good.
Yes. And the reason it occurs is good, which we're not going to say. And you end up, listen, if you didn't like Raffi, which guess what? We didn't like Raffi. We didn't like Raffi at all. In season 2, we were like so annoyed with her and done with her. You know, we were wondering, what's up with Michelle Hurd.
I'm going to be honest. I hated her in season 2. I hated her.
I know. It was terrible.
Every word that came out of her mouth made me cringe. I despise that character.
By the end of Picard season 3, you end up loving her again.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's wild. You end up really liking this character. And finally seeing what Michelle can actually do. Like, she's actually a good actress. She's not just a whiny, angry character. She has depth, dude.
When she has good content, she's a really great actress.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm like, imagine going back like a year ago and saying, man, you're going to love this Raffi in Picard season 3. Like, yeah.
Would have never believed it.
That's why whenever I hear like Doomcock like spouting off, I'm like, I sort of get it.
I get it.
I sort of get it.
More about him during the weekly Terry.
Yeah, we will. We're going to. All right. It has been previously reported that the season kicks off with Beverly Crusher on an attack ship. Yada, yada, yada. This is what Matalas said. There is a reason that Beverly will only reach out to Picard here. There's a reason that she can only trust him. Something going on is dire enough to reach out to Picard in this way. The stakes are very high. Yeah.
Yeah, nice setup.
And having watched it again, like, so the first time I watched it, I was like, I just loved everything. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it with as critical eye as possible. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to pick apart every problem the way we would everything else. And like everything has a solid like explanation that only adds to the previous explanation. It's like, it's so well done. And I got to say, if Terry ever sees this, dude, holy crap, man. You have really delivered on everything you promised. It's really quite good.
Well said.
The main villain of the season is Vadic, played by Amanda Plummer, who says in the trailer, Jean-Luc Picard, we will have vengeance. Vengeance is a common. I've heard that line 50 times.
Yes, you have.
Vengeance is
Even
a
in our video.
What?
Especially doing our video.
Yeah. We will have vengeance. I see. Like there's a spoiler there. There's a little tidbit of information in what she says.
Well, you don't know what the vengeance is for, but yeah.
Right. Vengeance is a common theme for villain motivation, both in Star Trek and outside of Trek. However, Matalas made it clear there's a little bit more going on here. This is what Matalas said. There's infinitely more to it. Yes. There's infinitely more to it. Infinitely.
Surprise.
Just because there's a line in the trailer that references vengeance doesn't mean people have to roll their eyes about Khan. Thank you. If I were to include more of Vadic's dialogue, it would be spoiling it too much for her motivation. I'm not in the business of spoiling things for fans that are part of the plot, and that reveals that makes the story satisfying. For now, vengeance is certainly part of what she has to say, but certainly not all. Amen, brother.
That should be enough to pique your interest. You know, I mean, just knowing that vengeance is what does that mean, right? So vengeance means, somebody wants to get even, right? So that means something bad must have occurred.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just define vengeance and let your imagination do the walking.
Right. Yeah. All right. Sorry. I had this thought. I can't say what it is. I'll tell you later.
All right.
There's this. I remember this line. I'm going to tell you later. Just remind me, please.
Okay.
God, I can't wait to talk about this series. Like, I can't
wait.
We're so close. Vadic can also be heard on our ship. The Shrike attacks as the Shrike attacks the USS Titan. Then we cut to a shot of Vadic and her masked soldiers. Matalas draws a connection between their look and her ship. Her masked folk are symbolic of her ship being the Shrike, that sort of bird-like skeleton on them, and part of her philosophy, which you'll hear more about when you watch the season. Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, that's good, but I don't think it's that important for the overall.
I mean, listen, henchmen, goons are just that.
Yeah, they're henchmen. Exactly.
Yeah, they're henchmen. That's it. This really is the end, but Riker says to Picard, you and I have traveled the far reaches of space, but something different now. This is the end, my friend. What a great line for a trailer. As the trailer cuts to a title card with the final voyage begins. Then he reveals the TNG cast were returning for season 3 last year. Matalas said he was inspired to give them a proper send-off. In fact, the message of the final season in all the promos and posters, however, members of the cast and even Alex Kurtzman have hinted that there could be more beyond season 3. All right, so before I talk about how Matalas clarified this, there will always be more Star Trek.
Right.
But what kind of Star Trek? That's what's important. There is no way Paramount is giving up its cash cow. Imagine if Disney decided they're no longer making Mickey Mouse cartoons. Of course, that's never going to happen.
Right.
Paramount is never going to stop producing Star Trek. But there are two types of Star Trek. Bad Star Trek and good Star Trek. And
amen to that.
Recently, we've gotten pretty much mostly bad. And while some members of the cast and even Alex Kurtzman have hinted that there could be more beyond season 3, no, there will be more after season 3.
The next time you decide to do a story outside the Weekly Terry, I'm going to smack you. This should be in the Weekly Terry.
No, the Weekly Terry is too full.
There's so much stuff to talk about with what you said. So maybe we should come to an end here after you finish this, because there's so much that needs to go in the Weekly Terry about this stuff that's Doomcock's been tweeting about, stuff that's out there. It's all attached.
We're about to talk about that on the Weekly Terry,
but it's all attached to what you're saying right now. So it's almost like the same.
That's why we need to talk about this first before we get to the Weekly Terry.
All right. Well,
that's what I did.
What are you going to go from this to the Weekly Terry? Because it's all the same thing.
No, I wasn't going to jump right into it, but we could if you want. I just want to make sure this chronologically was first, so that people watching understood when we got the Weekly Terry.
All right.
This is what Matalas said, and we're gonna wrap it up here. There is no question that this will feel, by the time it's over, like the final voyage of the Next Gen cast. And without going into specific spoilerific detail, that doesn't mean to say that a kind of next generation show couldn't continue with legacy characters. A kind of Star Trek legacy, if you will, where these characters can continue to interact with a whole new generation. And when I say that, I also mean characters from Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and as well. But again, I will remind fans, this is just my dream of dreams and is not currently in development anyway. But should it ever be, I would be there in New York Minute. Thank you.
So let me just point out here really quick. So shout out right now, the Dave Cullen show being here. Dave, really thanks. Glad you're here and glad you showed up. And thank you for the comment that you put out here. He says, I'm extremely impressed with the first 6. So like Dave, and this is something I was going to say for the weekly Terry, but it's here. So I'm going to mention it now. There are a lot of screeners out.
Right.
They've been working hard. Terry and everybody have been working hard to get screeners out to as many media outlets as possible because they want the positive word of Picard out there because they know the show's good. Dave just said it right here. Extremely impressed with the first 6. We haven't been blowing smoke up your guys' asses. I'm telling you right now, Picard season 3 is going to be good. Everybody right now, there's still an embargo. Nobody can talk about any of the episodes until after the show airs. But everybody coming out with their initial comment is it's great. It's a return to great Star Trek. Listen, guys, we've been telling you for 3 months. This is going to be a great show. You need to saddle up. It's going to be fantastic. And if you want more, so we're telling you it's great. You've hated the last couple of years of Star Trek, most of you guys, for Picard. Most of you have hated Star Trek Discovery, okay? If you want more great Star Trek coming in the future, we need more Terry Trek, okay? We need Terry Matalas making this stuff. And unless the fans come out and get behind it and say how much they love it, there's not going to be any more Terry Trek.
Yep.